Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon, and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how to use across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, we'll start with what media we're consuming, and Amir, you can start first. I don't know. I feel like we definitely don't talk about the boys a lot on here because I don't actively watch the show, but I told you like because it just bothers me. We can get into that since we're talking about it, but yeah, we don't talk about it too often. We talked about it like a few times, so I don't remember you saying that. I thought you liked it. Oh yeah, most people say that the comic isn't that good, but the show is way better. So I'm starting to remember all the other times we talked about the boys, specifically on this podcast, and every time we've talked about it, it was because we were talking about Invincible, and even off podcast, that's also when we talked about the boys, because I yeah, because I was hesitant at first to watch Invincible because I thought it was just gonna be like The Boys but animated, but it's nothing like The Boys. And then even though like you said the show is different from the comics, even then it's still not really similar at all. And then of course I ended up reading the Invincible comic, all of it, and then like binge the like 6 episodes of Invincible that were out at the time. And since then, like Invincible has become one of my favorite comics. I'm actually currently rereading Invincible because I kind of breezed through it last time, so I'm reading through it again and taking my time this time, taking breaks so I can actually like hold that information instead of just um, blitzing through it. I'm doing the same thing with Chainsaw Man. But yeah, and the reason I haven't watched a full episode of The Boys yet is because when they were first like we were first just hearing that the show was going to happen, I like read an entire synopsis of the comic. I did the same thing with Invincible and then immediately forgot it all, so it didn't really spoil the comic for me. So I read the entire synopsis of the comic and I was like, this is some messed up stuff. And then I made the mistake of looking up comic book panels and I was like, this is absolutely horrible. Why did I do this to myself? And then proceeded to continue to torture myself by looking up, like not looking up, but when the first trailer for the first season came out, I watched the trailer and I was like, what did I expect? It is just as gross and violent as I was expecting it to be. And here's the thing though, me and you have I've said it on this podcast that I'm a kind of a maniac when it comes to like video games and how I like violence. Um, so the fact that the boys' violence bothers me is like that's weird. Here's why. It's because it's their parodies of heroes that I grew up loving, made to be like somewhat grounded and very, very evil and dark, and that just disturbed me to the point where and maybe I've said this on a podcast, but I know I've definitely told you this off podcast. Like I was having like nightmares about Homelander. Like, bruh, that dude scared me. I ended up blocking Anthony Starr on Twitter and Instagram because I just did not want to see that man's face. It was horrifying to me, and it was at one point like I forget. I think like I don't know. I was broke, couldn't pay my phone bill, so I was like using this free phone, and so when I would listen to music at night when I'm going to sleep, I would listen to it on this Kindle, and on Kindles they're constant like in the just the lock screen there are constantly Amazon ads because you know Kindle is Amazon device, so there would be ads for the boys with just Homelander's face on it when I'm going to look at the Kindle at night, and I'm just like this isn't gonna help me sleep. But then slowly over the years, because what the show's been out for about 3 years or so now, or probably more than that. Um, my uh, what is it? I guess fear lessened, and my horror of that just lessened, and now I'm okay with it, and I could watch people react to it, like cut up clips from the episode, and to where I could get it, I could understand where the story's going, but not watch it in full, and still sometimes cover my eyes when there's gore. But now I'm getting to the point to where I'm like, the show's really good, and I'm no longer as bothered by it, so I might finally start watching it. But I'm still not fully convinced to watch it just yet. But I'm almost there, and I'm probably gonna end up watching it at some point. Probably once the third season is done, I'll probably finally get to the point like you know what I'm gonna watch it. But I'm caught up with it. I watch people watch it. I listen to the discussions. I have a very like I understand what's happening, but I haven't watched any full episodes. But yeah, that's why I haven't watched The Boys. That it just disturbed me greatly. It was very disturbing for me for a very long time. It's also the subject matter for me. Yeah, I'll have to read it one of these days. Recently, I forget why, I was just looking up Arrowette for whatever reason, I can't remember why. I think it's because I was thinking about some idea for some live action like DC universe that mixes film and TV, much like Marvel is currently doing. And I was kind of thinking about the Arrow family and those characters and how that could work. And her mother dragged her into it because she saw Green Arrow and was like, "Oh, I could use my archery skills for being a superhero." And so like there's a connection there that they could use to like tie her into the Arrow family. But also her story in general is interesting. It's a very interesting story that I want to see played out in some type of cartoon or show at some point because she basically got roped into it by her mother. She did not really want to do it, but then eventually she did become a hero, and then eventually she stopped becoming a hero. It's very interesting, and you could they could really do a lot exploring her relationship with just archery in general, because it's definitely something that I haven't read the comics, so you can tell me better how they do it in the comics. But like from the little I've read, in terms of just wikis, just to get an idea of the type of character she was. Um, she eventually becomes like she's an Olympic level archer, and she goes to the Olympics and wins like gold. But then there's also the aspect of the fact that she should probably also not like it that much because she was kind of forced into it. And I feel like you could do some interesting stuff with that in like a TV show. Crazy. You know what's funny? So Heroes in Crisis, not a good story, but the idea is sound. And I think that, Harley Quinn hasn't really been a straight up villain for a long time. It would be interesting if the Justice League employed Harley Quinn as their psychiatrist and they did another version of Heroes in Crisis where it was like actually dealing with psychiatry and like Harley Quinn like being like the Justice League psychiatrist and like talking to heroes and maybe villains as well. Like maybe she starts working at Arkham as well. Like I feel like that would be cool. That would be very interesting. Yeah. But just keep things going. So I finally finished Sleeping Dogs. I finished a lot of games recently that I had been playing for a while. A couple that I've been playing for years. So I finally finished Sleeping Dogs. Good game. If I'm being real, it kind of ended really abruptly. And maybe it was just because of how on and off I was playing it. But like, okay, I thought it was just the fact that I was playing it so infrequently that it felt so weird. But like, spoiler alert for the end of Sleeping Dogs. Like literally the very last mission. Like you start a mission and then it goes all the way to the end, and you think it's gonna end at some point, and you're gonna like go and it's gonna go to different missions. Like you think there's gonna be more, but there just isn't. Like your friend gets murdered, and then you get kidnapped and tortured, and then you break out of there, and then you immediately go to kill the like big boss that's been threatening everything, and then yeah, that's it. And it's like, what? I thought there was gonna be more. I thought he was gonna maybe go back to the gang. He was gonna help the lady get in power, which she's already in power, but we were gonna see more of that. But it was like, no, it just ended. It was weird. I was very confused. It's a good game. It's a fun game. I really want them to make a sequel or something someday, but like it ended so abruptly. I started playing the DLC a little bit. I'll probably finish that someday. I'm not really pressed to finish that. But yeah, it was a fun game. So I also finished Doom Eternal. Finally, the last boss was kind of easy because they put you on there's like just so much items around. So the BFG, the big fucking gun. And it just you shoot it, it incinerates everything around. Except for there's like a couple really big demons that don't get insta killed by it, but usually it murders everything. And then there's the this sword you get called like the Crucible Blade that one shots all demons as well, except for obviously the bosses. And I'm fighting the final boss, which is the Icon of Sin. And there's tons of BFG ammo and tons of Crucible Sword ammo, and they respawn. So I was just it was light work, and I didn't use the BFG very often unless I was getting overwhelmed. I would just use the Crucible Sword, which also when I murdered people with it, it gave me health. So it kind of made the boss fight. The boss fight was more. It actually wasn't tedious. It was really. I was gonna say tedious, but it was actually really fun. Because it felt like I could just go all out and use. I think that was kind of the point as well. You could just go all out and use literally every single weapon you have in your arsenal, with without worrying about running out of ammo, like you usually do, and that made it just super fun. And yeah, finally finished that. It's a real good game. I am curious to see what they do with the third one. And there was a multiplayer in the first game, which I haven't played Doom 2016, which is on Game Pass, so I'm probably gonna check that out now that I'm done with Doom Eternal. Um, but I'm very excited to see what they do with the third one, and I kind of want there to be a co-op element because I feel like Doom would be fun with a co-op type element, and I also want them to bring multiplayer back because there was a, like a PvP element to the Well, there's a PvP element in this game, except that one team plays as monsters, the other team plays as, well, I think one person literally plays as the Slayer. But there was a Slayer, multiple Slayers versus Slayers, and it's funny that I'm saying Slayer because Team Deathmatch in Halo is called Slayer, but multiple Doom Slayers fighting each other, and I want them to bring that back as well. And I might have to check that out when I play Doom 2016. But yeah, Doom Eternal is fun. Are you interested in that game at all? Oh, I didn't know you played it. Yeah, I'll play it soon. But yeah, Doom Eternal's real good. Um, it has a learning curve at the beginning when you first play it, but once you get into that groove, it's so good. And I need to play the DLC for Doom Eternal because as soon as I finished it, I was like, I want more. So there's this part like on the last level of Doom, where you have to go up like this like kind of this like mall in a skyscraper, and you go up the stairs. And once you get to this level, like it's the final level, so they're making it as hard as they possibly can. So could you mute yourself? So there's a bunch of heavy demons, but no fodder. There are no zombies, no imps, nothing. So nothing for you to farm ammo or health. So you just have to take down the big enemies, and it was ridiculous. And I did it several times until like one time I got the like all of the big demons on the second level, and then once I got to the third level, straight BFG. So other than the very first time I fought an Archvile, which I hate Archviles, they suck so bad. Other than the first time I fought an Archvile, I have never actively killed an Archvile just by using my guns. Every single time, I kill it with a Crucible Blade immediately. I'm not dealing with it. I do not want to have to deal with it at all. Except for this time, I shut the BFG, it put up a firewall, and it didn't die. So I had to kill it the normal way, and I had to try and keep shooting it before it spawned more enemies. I hate Archviles, bro. Those are my most hated enemies in that game. They suck so bad. I hate them. Every other enemy is like work for me, except for that Archvile. That game's fun though. It can frustrate you, but it's fun. So also, I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I'm gonna talk more about that later because there was a Final Fantasy event recently, the 25th anniversary of the seventh game recently. So I'll talk about that later. But I've been playing TMT Shredder's Revenge with my little brother when I go over there to play Halo, and that game's fun. I've played a few beat 'em up games with my little brothers when I was a kid, much younger, a kid. So it's been a while since I played a beat 'em up, and this is an evolution of beat 'em ups. It's not just the same old type of beat 'em up that you would play back in the 90s, but in the year in the 2020s, it's an evolution. It's still they use sprites, very high quality sprites because things have evolved. But there are other beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage 4, that also that uses like sprite work as well, but like sprite work to the point to where it just looks like it's 2D animated rather than actually being sprites. But in Shredder's Revenge, they very much clearly look like sprites. It's a fun game. It's up to 6 players, but I only have 2 controllers, and so if I had like 4 controllers, all my brothers would play because I have 3 brothers. So yeah, Halo, of course. Me and my brother finally finished the first Halo. Man, that last level on Halo. So you remember the jet ski level in Uncharted, the first one that we yeah that I always talk about how much I hate. There was something much worse than that in the last level of Halo. So warthogs, you've played Halo before, right? So warthogs, right? The way you drive warthogs is not like how you drive cars in other games. Instead of pulling the trigger to hit the gas, you push forward on the stick and guide it with the camera. It's weird, but I'm used to it. I played Halo a lot. And it's fine for like just playing Halo regularly, or if I'm playing Halo Infinite, where the controls are a bit tighter because it's the most recent game and it's open world. But in that first game, they give you a timer. You got 4 minutes to escape before the ship blows up. And you have to go through an obstacle course with the worst controlling vehicle in all of video games. It's ridiculous. I could understand if it was a straight. I can deal with the controls of the Warthog, but why did they have to give me an obstacle course? Why couldn't it just be a straight shot with a few enemies that my brother, who was on a turret, could shoot? It took us so many tries before finally we made it in time and finished the game, and we were done. We were like, we'll play Halo 2 next week. We're done today. We're just gonna watch TV and eat dinner, and then I'm gonna go home. No. But yeah, the reason I actually forgot about this is because I was watching Gravity Falls. I watch one episode every Saturday, but it's Sunday. I didn't watch it yesterday because I was doing other stuff. But yeah, so I watched one episode of Gravity Falls a week. I'm close to the end of the series. Still watching Community. Community's great. I'm on season 4, I believe. I watched Top Gun because I want to go see Top Gun Maverick because I'm hearing it's good, and Top Gun's a good movie. I like it. I liked it. Um, I watched it on Amazon. It's a good movie. Um, I watched Sonic 2 again. Um, I'm gonna be real. It wasn't as enjoyable watching it the second time it was the first time. Because the first time I feel like I was hyped up on getting not just more Sonic as in another movie, but more Sonic in terms of like characters and lore and worlds and stuff like that. And it was real fun watching it in theaters. I was like a kid again. It was fun. It was like I was watching Sonic X, and I had a good time. But this time, I didn't have as much a good time because I noticed the flaws more. The humans just don't need to be there. I've said it before. Like that's not a surprise. When I talked about my review last time, I talked about how I liked his relationship with the two his like two parent figures, but they aren't necessary. I think I specifically said that his like it should be like in Sonic X where there was like a kid who's around his age who's like the human figure that's with him. But like yeah, it was like they kept there's human scenes kept interjecting where they didn't need to be. Like there's a wedding going on between like his basically his mom's sister, like, and it's like I don't care about her. This is a Sonic movie. Why do I care about his mother figure's sister's wedding? Do you hear how far removed that is from the actual Sonic stuff? It was so weird. Like I don't care about her. She did not need to be in this movie. Like it's weird. I hope like the next movie's gonna have Shadow. So um Shadow's story involves humans, but humans that are more interesting. So hopefully, um, every movie they add more and more Sonic stuff, and that makes me excited for the third one because it'll just be more Sonic. And I had a good time watching this in theater, so I'll probably have a good time watching that in theater. So like they get better with each movie, but I feel like last time I scored was 4 out of 5. This time I would say a 3 out of 5. It's more middle of the road now. That I'm watching it again and not enjoying it as much because I'm noticing how much the human scenes interject and just ruin stuff because I'm like, I don't care about you. You have nothing to do with anything. I don't give a damn about your wedding. And there's one really long scene where like turns out her husband was a secret agent and it's like, I don't care. Has nothing to do with Sonic. Even though it's weird, bro. It's stupid. It's not worth explaining. It's inconsequential the story as a whole. Like it literally just does not matter. It just didn't need to be in a movie. So we spent a long time talking about stuff we've been watching, but we had some good combos. So um, moving on to current events. So the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, which was a landmark decision, which basically made it legal across the entire country for women to get abortions, and that's been overturned. So now that means that individual states now get to decide whether abortion should be legal or not within their state. And it's projected that 23 states, and which is almost half of the states in our country, are going to make abortion illegal within them. Luckily, well, it's hard for me to use the word luckily, but here in Maryland, it very much is legal to get an abortion and will likely stay that way because it's in our state constitution. It's in our constitutional rights in the state. So that's good for Maryland, but and some other states are trying to do the same thing. But I've literally said this the last time we talked about this. No one, but the pregnant person should be allowed to choose what to do with their body. And I say person because this also affects trans men and non-binary people as well. And man, I'm like I when stuff like this happens, I'm on Twitter for a little bit for the sake of retweeting things and just reading information and just absorbing as much information as I can so I could relay it. But after a while, I just need to stay off social media because I'm just like I hate seeing things regurgitated over and over again that make me upset. And I was just upset. I was just like, okay, I'm off Twitter. And I'm a very hopeful person as I talk about all the time, so it's hard for me to stay upset about something. But there's a difference between staying sad and staying angry. And we should stay angry. You should let that anger fuel you to try and make some type of change. And I'll remain hopeful, but also vigilant for anything I can do to help. And so should everyone else. So, but animation. So, Attack on Titan final season part 3 premieres on my birthday. That's all I got for that. I just found out it premiered on November 13th this year, so excited for that. Avatar Studios announced 3 movies. A Kyoshi movie in 2024, which will possibly adapt the novel, the Kyoshi novels. Um, a Fire Lord Zuko movie in 2025 that's most likely going to adapt the comics where he um, is trying to find more stuff up about his mom. Because the end of you know Avatar. I'm just remember how weird the ending of Avatar was to where it felt like there should have been a 4th season. Because at the end it's like Zuko goes to his spoiler alert for some reason you haven't seen Avatar. Zuko goes to his father's like cell and asks him about his mother, and then in the comics they continue that story about how he's trying to find his mother, and you learn more about what happened to Azula after what happened in the 3rd season of Avatar and everything. And the movie is very likely going to adapt that. And there's also going to be a Korra movie set after the events of the animated series in 2026. And I have a feeling that I don't have a feeling, but 100% they're probably going to no longer try and beat around the bush and just confirm that Korra and her name was there, and then I forgot it. Asami are dating. So yeah, I want a Korra movie, the Avatar that a lot of people thought were lazy, but turns out he was like fighting back like evil spirits that were trying to enter the world from spirit realm. I want his story because his story is pretty cool. Yeah, I've said it before, but I want like an Avatar anthology series that just takes place throughout different time periods in the Avatar world. And it doesn't even just have to focus on Avatar specifically, it can focus on different people within Avatar world. I just like anthology series, they could be fun. But yeah, but also we talked about it before, they're trying to do an art style similar to Arcane or Spider Verse, and I wonder if they're going to use that art style for these movies, or if they're just going to go with 2D and they're going to use that other art style for other movies in the future. But I don't want them to restrict themselves to just that 3D art style. I want them to do other stuff too. But yeah, so Trigun, there was announced that there's gonna be a remake called Trigun Stampede in 2023 by Studio Orange for Crunchyroll. Studio Orange is the same studio that makes Beastars, and just like Beastars, it will be 3D animated, which threw me off at first because I was like, why? I just feel like Trigun shouldn't be 3D animated, but also because it's Studio Orange, it'll probably be pretty good. Because I've said it before, Beastars is probably the best 3D animated anime ever. The thing is, that's with anthropomorphic animals, where making it 3D makes sense because of the way their faces move, of them having a lot of them having like snouts and stuff like that. Needing to do 3D, but I feel like with Trigun, they probably should have stuck with 2D. But um, I've been rewatching the original anime. I started doing that a while ago. Haven't finished it, but instead I started rereading the manga, and I read the first volume of Trigun, and I'm trying to make my way towards Trigun Maximum, which is the majority of the season. Like the first two, like Trigun itself is like not nearly as many volumes. Like I think Trigun Maximum is like double the amount of volumes that the original Trigun was. And Trigun Maximum is just there's a time skip, it picks up, continues the story, and ends it. And that was never adapted. the original Trigun anime is one of many. Like whenever anime gets remade, it's usually because they caught up to the manga, started throwing filler, and then just eventually they ended it by mixing in stuff that the writer told them about, and just it just it wasn't 100% faithful, and that's why they remake these things like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood or Shaman King. So yeah, I think Trigun Stampede's a real name. They already had a good name to choose from, which is Trigun Maximum, which is the name of the majority of the series. So I don't understand why they didn't just go with Trigun Maximum, but excited for it either way. I love Trigun. You ever watch Trigun? I don't know. I forget half the conversations we have on here. As you, like, oh wow, I could never. Trigun's, Trigun was in my top 10 at some point in life, but it's top 20, not top 10. Yeah, my top. Yeah, that's Bleach for me. Like Bleach is great. I love it, but like in my opinion, I think that as an anime, really Cowboy Bebop and Samurai, not Samurai Champloo. I actually don't agree with that. But Cowboy Bebop, I think is better. But Bleach will always be. It will always be number one in my heart. Look, I love Samurai Champloo, but I think Bleach is better than Samurai Champloo. But I also think Naruto's better than Samurai Champloo. Like I forget where's. Hold on, let me look up my list to see what Samurai Champloo, because I know Samurai Champloo is like top. Hold up, it might not even be top 10. I think it is though. Yeah. Oh wow. So Samurai Champloo is number 9. So just below Samurai Champloo is Yu Yu Hakusho. Just above Samurai Champloo is Dragon Ball Z. Just above Dragon Ball Z is One Piece. Just above One Piece. So look. So okay. So listen. So 10 is Yu Yu Hakusho. 9 is Samurai Champloo. 8 is Dragon Ball Z. 7 is One Piece. 6 is Hunter x Hunter. 5 is Attack on Titan. 4 is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. 3 is Naruto. 2 is Cowboy Bebop. Number 1 is Bleach. No, that's good the way it is, brother. But yeah. So so Batman Azteca, an original animated film, is in the works from HBO Max Latin America, and the film will follow a young Aztec boy who uses the temple of, I'm gonna try to pronounce this, Zinacan, the Bat God, as a lair to confront the Spaniard invasion and avenge his father's death. So it's Batman in Aztec times. Sounds interesting, and it's animated, so I love me some animation. And that's all I know about it. I don't think I've seen anything from it. I don't think there's been any visuals out there, but it sounds fun. So, comics. Um, Jujutsu Kaisen, been reading that. They continue to over explain a character's ability, like I said last time, which almost made me stop reading it, which takes me completely out of the fight. Like, this mangaka just needs to come up with a better way of explaining these abilities, or stop making complicated abilities. So World's Finest, Superman, Batman. So do you care about spoilers for this comic, World's Finest? Yes. So you know it. So yeah, it was cool. So super, yeah, yeah, but we didn't know what it was until it happened. So Superman and Batman. So I already said spoilers. So Superman and Batman fuse with the power of a Green Lantern ring, and it's cool. It's really cool. It's very cool. This comic book is just pure comic book goofiness. It's not trying to pretend like it's anything else other than a comic book about superheroes, and it's really fun. Sometimes you just need that in your life. So I read the Flash Dark Crisis tie-in because I don't really give a damn about Dark Crisis, but I like the Flash, and it was the latest issue. So Wally, Wallace, Max, Jesse, and Jay go into the Speed Force to find Barry, and they land in like 3 different multiverses. And one of them, I think, actually, Wally's children, Iris and Jay, ran in, and of course, they have to go after them. and I believe they landed in the universe where Red Death is from, because it was like Gotham, but like or like it's some version of Red Death, where it was like Gotham, but instead of like Wayne Tower, it was like Allen Tower, and it was like the Flash Batman standing in the background around the end of the issue. It was weird. I wonder where they're going with that. I wonder if it actually is another version of the Red Death or something different. Um, I think that's all I read. Yeah, I said Trigun. I was reading Trigun already. Been reading Invincible. Yeah, that's all I got. So I meant to tell you to watch this trailer for. Have you seen the trailer for Prey, the Predator prequel? So I'm not the biggest Predator fan, but I'm interested in the universe. Um, I've seen the first movie a long time ago. You know, I've seen the Aliens versus Predator films. And I watched the Kill Count. Did meet YouTube channel, and they did one for all of the Predator films. And yeah, I'm interested in the Predator as an idea. Um, there needs to be better Predator games. But like it's set this movie Prey. It's set 300 years I think before the first movie in the Comanche Nation, and I believe it's in North America. These are Native American people. And the synopsis goes: a skilled Comanche warrior protects her tribe from a highly evolved alien predator that hunts humans for sport, fighting against wilderness, dangerous colonizers, and this mysterious creature to keep her people safe. And it looks good to me. I'm gonna check. There's no reason. I feel like you should check it out. It's gonna be on Hulu. It's not like it's gonna be in theaters, and you have to go to. And if you have Hulu, you can check it out on Hulu instead of you don't have to go to a theater or pay to watch it. But it looks like it'll be a fun movie. Um, so either way, I'll be watching, and if it's good, I'll definitely be letting you know. Um, the director and native talent say that they filmed an alternate version in Comanche, so there's going to be like a Comanche dub, whereas the regular one is just they speak English, or maybe a mix. And it looks like so. Predators have these casters on their shoulder that shoot like plasma, but in this version, because it's like in the past, they still have it more advanced technology than the humans, because this is the time period where the humans like colonizers have come and they have rifles. So instead of shooting plasma, it shoots like a like metal arrow, like a bolt, like a crossbow bolt. So yeah, I'm interested in this movie. Looks fun to me. So you say you didn't watch the last Miss Marvel episode? I don't think we talked about the second episode anyway. So I honestly forget what happened in the second episode. It's for me, it's nice to learn about another culture that I didn't know a lot about. I grew up Muslim, but like by the time I hit middle school, I kind of just I like was no longer very a religious person. So my experience with that culture, let alone Indian or actually Pakistani culture, you know, it was different. So it's fun learning that, and I didn't, I honestly did not know about partition at all, and then I watched Miss Marvel, and then proceeded to go, like, what is that? Look it up and learn about it. I'm like, oh wow, I knew nothing about that. White people messing stuff up as usual. Um, so yeah, um, how'd you like the second episode? Dude, it's so unnecessary. And wait till you see the third episode if you want to talk about them changing their powers. Wait, you're not gonna like it. So I didn't enjoy the third episode very much. I'm still gonna watch it all, of course, but the third episode just was not great. Um, yeah. So Kenobi, it ended. The last episode was really good. It was a really really dope fight between Vader and Kenobi, and it was a very emotional moment at the end when we see him break the mask, much like Ahsoka did in Rebels, and it was great. Um, how you how you feel about that last episode? Not the whole show, just the last episode. Yeah. So we've never shied away from criticizing Moses Ingram, but I'm always eager to compliment a fellow black person for a job well done, and her performance in the last episode was easily her best performance in the entirety of the show so far. For me personally, I haven't really been feeling her performance. I haven't been really convinced much of her being in that world, and it feels very much like she's acting. Um, But in that last, I feel like whenever she's showing extreme emotion, it very much feels real, and I felt it in that last scene with her. And she's alive. And when I was watching reaction with Blind Wave, as usual, and they mentioned like, what if Reva showed up in Jedi Fallen Order, or Jedi Fallen Survivor, or Jedi Survivor. That could be interesting. Because I feel like, so correct, because I can't remember if Kenobi takes place where the first game took place or the second game. Right. Yeah, so it would be cool if Reva showed up in Jedi Survivor. It'd be cool if Reva showed up in Jedi Survivor. It feels like they might be setting it up, because why else would these things be so close to each other? And why would they point out to us, the fans, that they are close to each other? Otherwise, if there wasn't going to be some type of connection, maybe Kenobi shows up in Survivor. That would be fun. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I thought it was a good show. It wasn't anything amazing to me, and personally, I thought it was all right. Honestly, it wasn't much special. It was fun. It was a good time, but it wasn't a great time. The moments between Yeah, the moments between Kenobi and Vader, of course, were amazing. But outside of that, I didn't care much for anything else. Oh, Little Leia was great. She was really good. She was easily probably the highlight of the show for me. Unexpected and very much appreciated. It was great. Her specifically. Other than that, it was cool. It was fun. Nothing special to me personally. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So you've seen it. You said you like it, but also there's some mixed things. Um, Shoot, go ahead. I've talked about it at length with my friend Shania, but it's your turn. Now that you finally seen it. Because Doctor Strange was in the Illuminati, so the Illuminati has to be in the movie. That's just how it works, bro. I I had no problem with them. They were there to get murdered by Wanda. That's why they were there. And it's Black Bolt. Don't forget Black Bolt. And Maria and and Maria Rambeau was Captain Marvel. But also, like, you're right. I agree 100%. This movie is so disappointing from a writing standpoint, but from a directing standpoint, it was really cool. But here's the thing, Raimi did not write this. I feel like if Raimi wrote this, it would have been way more fun. And here's the thing about this movie. This movie is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There was very little multiverse and very little. Well, there was some madness, but there was very little multiverse in this movie about the Multiverse of Madness. Sure, he went to a couple different universes and he stayed there. Like, he went to, like, at max, what, two universes? There was a scene when they went through different universes, but that doesn't matter. They didn't stay in any of those for any length of time. He was in what, two, three universes? This whole movie, the universe he's from, the Illuminati universe, and that universe with the other Doctor Strange. That's about it. I think I also just feel like doing a little Easter egg of Maria Rambo as Captain Marvel and then just immediately murdering her. I hated that because I'd like, they could still do like a what if episode of that. I would love to see a what if episode in the the next few seasons where they do like l- learn more about what's happening with that, like Maria Rambeau, and then bring Captain Carter into live action, immediately murder her as well, and bring back like Professor X makes sense because it's like he's probably never gonna play Professor X again outside of cameos, so it's like that one made sense. Um, Black Bolt too, like I think he should come back as Black Bolt at some point after they bring back the Inhumans, but like I get that one too, but like some of them I'm just like, what was the point of this if you're just gonna like do this? You could have did this with anyone. If anything, they could have had her going through multiple universes, murdering other people other than the Illuminati. That would have been just as surprising. But honestly, it didn't bother me as much as it bothered you. I thought it was cool and it made sense, and I get what they were going for. It was like shocking and surprising, and they want to be like, this group of powerful people immediately gets murdered by Wanda to show how powerful she is. So some of most of those deaths were really cool. Uh, Maria's was lame. She's got crushed by a statue of her friend, which is weird. No, she's dead. It was confirmed. It was confirmed by the writer that she's dead. And you know what he said about how she died? He said that the statue was made out of some special thing that nullified her powers, which is bullshit. They could have come up with a much more interesting way to like kill her. Like I don't know, explode, like overcharge her with energy or something and have her explode. Like you could have done something way more interesting. Those deaths though were surprisingly violent. It caught me completely off guard the first time I watched it. Like you got spoiled because you don't care about spoilers, but it caught me off guard because I avoided spoilers like the plague. Like I did not expect that, especially the Black Bolt one. It completely threw me off. It's it was definitely Raimi. I loved it. That scene. Another reason that scene didn't bother me and I actually enjoyed it, and why I didn't care too much about what they did with the Illuminati because it's an alter universe. Whenever someone gets killed in alter universe, I don't care because there are infinite universes and they can bring any version of the character back whenever they want to. So I didn't care about this version of Illuminati dying, but like also it was just Sam Raimi just being as Sam Raimi as he possibly can within the restriction of like, PG-13, and I loved it. It was amazing. Like, but like yeah, there wasn't a lot of multiversal exploration in this multiverse movie, and I hated that. Like, but you said that you actually liked it as a Doctor Strange movie. Explain that. Yeah, the plot was revolving around America Chavez, who was just a plot device and nothing more. She was not really a character. She, she, she was not a character. Yeah, she was. Here's the thing. A lot of the stupid jokes that they gave Doctor Strange should have just been given to her because I feel like Doctor Strange as a character, at least I don't really Doctor Strange comics a lot, so I can only speak from what I've seen in the MCU. He's a very dry humor type of guy and super sarcastic. So having him actively try to be funny rather than just making an offhanded sarcastic joke, just to be a jerk is I feel like don't do that. They kept having him spout weird one-liners like Illumawati, like Illuminati isn't a regular word that humans know. That's not a weird thing. That was the dumbest joke I've ever seen written in an MCU movie, and I don't even get upset about the MCU jokes that people always get upset about. They don't bother me. This was the first movie where I really noticed them, and they really made me cringe because I was like, why did he say Illumawati? That's not a weird word. That is just the Illuminati is a thing that exists here that people theorize about all the time. If anything, he should have just said, I don't know, Illuminati's real or something like that. Like, I don't know. It was stupid. It made no sense. He's literally a wizard. Why is the idea of Illuminati existing weird to him? It made no sense. Literally, Hydra infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. That was basically the Illuminati. It was so weird. Yeah, that's the thing. This movie should not have been. They need to stop trying to shoehorn multiverse into everything because this movie should have been about what was going on between him and Mordo. And also, one thing I liked about this movie is that up until Infinity War, Doctor Strange was a Green Lantern. He was just making energy projections and weapons and shields and fighting with that and going to the mirror dimension. And then in Infinity War is when he started doing more interesting stuff with his magic. And in this movie, they did more of that. Whenever he uses magic, he always summoned some type of otherworldly creature. And I thought that was really cool. And also that music fight was very fun. Yeah. Like the magic use in this movie was fun. and creative. Like at the very end when he like bring back the like when he was dreamwalking, he bring back the dead Doctor Strange and had like a cape of like those dead dudes. Yeah, that was real cool. Wanda. So I like the downfall of Wanda. I like it as an idea. I think it was flawed. I also think it kind of threw me off when they kind of just got straight to the point at the beginning. I was like, you could have strung us along a little bit. Like I know she's the villain, but you could have still strung me along like just a little longer. But no, immediately they were like, nope, villain. Nope, she's the villain. Also, I didn't like her costume. I think they should have stuck with the sleeveless look, personally. But also so some concept art. I'm gonna throw it up on screen from Andy Park. Showed that they were gonna do so. You know, her original um, like crown in the comics was much bigger. They Andy Park had an idea where he was like the crown as she gets like more evil, the crown grows and turns into more of like the bigger shape that it was when she was first introduced in the comics, and I thought that was a really cool idea and would have been dope. Unfortunately, they didn't do that, but that would have been really cool. It's very often the concept art is so much cooler than what we get on screen sometimes. But yeah, it was an alright movie. Much like Kenobi, it was fun, but it wasn't particularly special. Mostly because Raimi didn't write it. I don't know if it was his choice or if it was Marvel's choice that he didn't write it. But some people were theorizing that maybe he didn't write it because he didn't want to have to watch like two movies and a TV show to be able to get the knowledge he needed to write it properly. But like if I'm being honest, if that was the case, I would have like if I was Kevin Feige, I'm like just for the sake of Raimi being able to write it, I would have just told him like what he needs to know, like in a short synopsis that that just is actually gets him to write it. I was just like, this is all you need to know. Boom, write it if you want to, like, because I would have if he wrote this, I feel like this would have been one of the best Marvel movies, but he didn't, and the writing wasn't very good. It was literally the visuals that were fun about this movie more so than the writing. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. What is that all you got? I'm gonna take that as yes. So moving on to video games. Uh, yeah. So I'm gonna start with the Capcom showcase that happened a week or two ago. RE Village is getting some DLC, as well as a third person mode. It's coming out this fall. Third person mode, a DLC, and I think that's it. Yep. Oh, and some additional mercenary stuff with like Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg being playable, which is interesting. I'll probably check out the DLC. I don't know. I'll see what people. The DLC doesn't really look very interesting to me, honestly. So I'm not really planning on playing it. But if I see someone else playing it and it looks cool and it has good reviews, I might check it out. So Final Fantasy 25th anniversary event. So Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion is a remaster and port of the prequel title that was used to be locked to the PSP and Vita. You can only play Crisis Core, which is a prequel to the Final Fantasy VII game, on the PSP. But now it will be getting remastered and released on all platforms: PC, Xbox, PS5, PS4. So Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is another remake of Final Fantasy VII. So it's a remake of Final Fantasy VII that is more more like the original game in terms of the way it looks and the way that it plays. Whereas the Final Fantasy remake is, it's very different, much more of an action game. But it also includes a remake of Crisis Core that's remade to play like the original Final Fantasy VII. And it's only releasing on iOS and Android for some reason, which I think is a really weird decision because I know there's a lot of people who would love to play this on their console or their PC. So it's really weird that this is only for iOS and Android. Very strange. So Final Fantasy Rebirth is the second game in the remake trilogy, which they announced is going to be a trilogy, like a lot of people assumed, and it's releasing next winter on PS5. So that could be anywhere between December, January, or February, or like early March or something like that. So it's either late next year, 2024, or 2023, or early 2024. So yeah, excited for that because I finished the remake, and man, was that final act easily the best part of the game. So this game came out 2 years ago. I beat it after 2 years, and the reason being is that it's an RPG, and the combat is not turn based, which is fantastic. It's this ATB system where you get 2 bars. Each character gets 2 bars, and you get your regular like hack and slash attacks pressing square. But when a bar fills up, you then get the ability to do some type of magical ability or any other abilities you have, and it's cool. And when you do it, is you can either attach it to certain button commands, so you could do it in real time, or you press a button and it slows down, and you go through this really quick and easy to navigate menu, and then you do the attack, and it gives you time to just plan out your moves, and it's cool, and I love it, and it's really fun. And dude, this last act was really fun. It was just a bunch of dope boss fights. And something that I hate about this game did not exist in this last level, and I wish the whole game was like this because this is why it took me so long to beat it, is you have to run through corridors a lot. Just run through empty corridors to get from, battle to battle or to get to the next part of the story. And those are probably, because this game was originally released on PS4, it's probably a way to hide loading screens, but it's so annoying. And that's my biggest gripe. That's one of my biggest gripes with the game. But in this last mission, they actually make your traversal through the corridors more fun because you're picking up information about the world, and you're learning about Shinra and the different people who work there, and it was fun. And then you get to the parts where you have to fight, and you have to fight these cool bosses, and at the end, this is not a spoiler, it is not a spoiler to say at the end of a Final Fantasy VII game that you fight Sephiroth. And it was easily the best boss fight in the entire game. And the remakes of his theme, which coincidentally the remix of his theme, which I was gonna say coincidentally, but it's definitely not a coincidence that the remix of his theme, which is called One Winged Angel, was called One Winged Angel Rebirth, and then the second game in this remake trilogy is called Rebirth. So, yeah, that's fun. So my second biggest gripe with the game is these things called whispers, which, spoiler alert, I should have said that at the beginning, spoiler alert for Final Fantasy VII, but there's these things called whispers. But what I like to call, and I got this from Maximilian Dude on YouTube, is our plot ghost. So these whispers are essentially, they look like Dementors. They're soldiers of destiny. At the end of the game, you don't care about spoilers for Final Fantasy, right? Okay, good. Because I had a feeling you didn't, but I just want to make sure. I always got to make sure. But these whispers, as they're called, make sure that everything goes the exact same way that it went in the original game. But without spoiling the original game for people watching, because I've had some major things from the original game spoiled, and I'm sure you know what they are, Amir, because Final Fantasy VII is a popular game. But the way I got spoiled sucked so hard too. But because I could have avoided it, and I hate it. But yeah, they're trying to prevent you from changing what happens in the original game, and this is essentially the developer's way of saying the events in this remake of the game are going to be different from the original game, and them giving a plot reason as to why things are different, which I think is cool. Otherwise, people would have been like, why are you changing things? So they give you a reason why things are different. So the only problem I have is, if the goal of these plot ghosts are to maintain the original timeline, why the hell are they constantly interrupting the parts of the game that are from the original story? Large swarms of them keep appearing in the middle of sections that are identical to the OG game and interrupting my enjoyment of the OG story. And I'm like, bro, they should, and they do this, and I think they should have done this the whole game, is they'll come in and, like, when you're going through missions where you're doing things the way you're supposed to, they come in and they help you and gently push you in certain directions to make sure that you're going the path that they want you to go, the path of destiny, as they call it. And then, obviously, if you try to... they don't really build in too many moments early on in the game where I feel like things are going so differently that large swarms of them need to come. But at the very end of the game, things do start to go differently, and they learn what's happening. They get, like, glimpses of the future, the alternate future, and then they decide they're going to fight against Destiny and, like, destroy the ghost so that they could change the way things work. And it worked at the end, but every time the plot ghosts showed up before that were just annoying and interrupting the story, and I hated it. I think it was a better way they could have done it. They should have been more liberal about it at the beginning, and then had the big swarm of them at the end like they already had. But yeah, overall, the game was fun. I'm I try to figure out because I go out of 5 in terms of my scale, and I do half points, and for me, I'm trying to pick between 3.5 and 4. So if I had to go further than half points, which I don't normally do, I would give it a 3.8 because the corridors that annoyed me so much that it bumps it down a little bit, but it's closer to a 4 than it is a 3 because it's a really fun game, and I'm excited for the second one, which based on how the original game goes from the little bit of information I have, it's going to open up much more. So it's hopefully going to be less running through corridors and more open spaces. Not completely open world, but semi-open world, and that sounds real fun to me. But that's all I got for the episode. This is gonna be a short episode. I thought because we had a like I'm glad we had that really long discussion at the beginning because little did I notice we didn't have a lot to talk about this week. So yeah, as usual, you can find my ads below me and Amir's ad below him, and Amaskar's ad below that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.